Hi, I'm Rob from ProfessorGoldstar.com. Today we're looking at Spanish regular IR verbs in the present tense. We're going to go through how to conjugate these verbs. We're going to focus on vivir, which is the verb to live. This is the infinitive form of the verb, and it's the form of the verb you will find if you look up live in a dictionary. So how do we conjugate regular IR verbs in the present tense? Chop off the IR from the infinitive. This leaves you with the stem, and add the appropriate ending for the person who is doing the verb. For example, vivir is to live. Chop off the ending, the IR, and you're left with bib, which is the stem. And then if, for example, you add O to the end of it, that turns it into I live. Vivo, I live. Let's look at the verb in its full form. Vivir, to live. Yo vivo, I live. Tú vives, you live, singular. Él, ella, usted vive, he or she lives. Nosotros vivimos, we live. Vosotros vivís, you live, plural. Ellos, ellas, ustedes viven, they live. Remembering that usted and ustedes are the formal way of saying you in Spanish. This is really useful to remember. Note also you do not need to use the subject pronoun in Spanish all the time unless you need to clarify or emphasize who is doing the verb. Later on, we'll look at the application of this knowledge in the multiplier effect, where you're going to conjugate up to 9 other verbs by following this same pattern. More on that in a bit. Let's look at the singular form of the verb first. Vivo, I live. Vives, you live, singular. Vive, he or she lives, but the you formal singular form of the verb to live as well. And now the plural forms. Vivimos, we live. Vivís, you plural live. Viven, they live. The you formal plural form of the verb to live as well. Here we see the verb in its full form one more time. Now see if you can apply this knowledge of chopping off the ending of the infinitive and then adding the different endings to talk about different people with these 9 other verbs. This is called the multiplier effect because anything you do to vivir, you would do to these 9 other verbs as well. So pause the video and see if you can conjugate these verbs starting with the infinitive and then all 6 forms underneath in Spanish and English. Pause the video now if you want to do that. Also, I like to put a challenge in my videos. So here are 5 verbs in Spanish, 5 verbs in English that you need to translate into the other language by applying your knowledge. So pause the video, write them down and translate them, press play, and then correct any mistakes that you may make, just to help deepen your understanding. So pause the video now. Let's see how you did. Número 1, comparto, I share. Número 2, subimos, we go up. Número 3, reciben, they receive. Número 4, decides, you decide, the singular form of you. Número 5, insisten, they insist. Número 6, I allow, permito. Número 7, she insists, ella insiste. Número 8, we define, definimos. Número 9, they discuss or argue, discuten. And finally, número 10, do you live? Vives. How did you get on? Remember to correct any mistakes you might make. Okay, you've been watching a video on how to conjugate regular IR verbs in the present tense in Spanish. Thank you for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please visit my website, ProfessorGoldstar.com, where you can get lots of extra practice on conjugating verbs and many, many other grammatical points in Spanish as well.